Do you have the, okay. And at paragraph 5 thereof, page 3, and I'm going to read, the heading says, Kedi Kumalo, paragraph 5. During my analysis, I identified the following numbers which belongs to Kedi Kumalo. Gives the ID number, which I'm not going to read in record, which I can prove via links with family, friends, XDS, expert decision systems, central database, in brackets, reference, police crime administration system, e-NATIS, and Truecaller. And the following extraction out of the XDS to trace the following numbers of Kedi Kumalo. The first one that is mentioned is 2779-494-8773, and the date next to it is 2018-05-07. Do you see that?
Yes.
And then he goes on to say, used as contact number as per Rosebank case 1 of 06-2007, that was an offense of theft, general victim. Right? The second one listed is 2773-3885-730, and the date next to it is 2017-05-03. You see that?
86.
Sorry?
It's 86, not 85.
Oh, 86, I'm sorry, yes. Thanks for the correction. And then the next one is 2761-1456-2104. The date next to it is 2017-04-08. And we move on to page 4. A landline is listed, and I might just well read it onto record. It's 2711-883-1447. The date listed next to it is 2017-03-28. And the next one is 2772-938-2498. This is the number for which the section 205 was obtained, correct? And another landline is mentioned. The number is 2711-413-1179, and the date next to it is 2015-01-28. You see that?
Yes.
And the next cell number is 2773-451-5017. The date next to it is 2012-08-27. And then lastly, the number also for which the 205 was obtained is 2782-704-4358. Right. Now, in your evidence, and I was just asking my learned colleagues to assist me with the relevant exhibit, where you obtained the section, your section 15.4 in terms of the RICA Act, the case IDs and the numbers that you obtained in relation to that, together with the section 205 request by Captain Bolstra, right? All of these numbers that I've mentioned, especially the cell phone numbers, did you obtain the section 205s thereof? We know that only two, the 2498 and the 4358, the rest of the cell numbers, in terms of the request, were the 205s ever obtained?
To be quite honest, offhand, I cannot tell you because there were a number of Section 205 subpoenas requested for this case.
Yes.
What I can tell you is that off the cuff, we will not have data for the 011 numbers.
Yes.
And any other number that is not a service by Vodacom, we will not have data for that.
Kuthina kulezi nomboro lezi ebemtshela ngazo lasebuzwa ukuthi ngabe wawuthole isicelo ukuya ngalo mthetho we-205 ukuthi ungazithola ukuthi nazo ukuthi yena cha ukusukela esandleni lena angeke ngikhone ukukutshela ngenxa yokuthi sathola isicelo soyinombolo eziningi kanti amanye amanombolo okufana nawo lawo Vodacom sasingeke sikhone ukuthi siwaphenye wona.
Okay, now I know it may sound speculative. If you can answer me. Of the card, barring number porting to another service provider, the 2779 will, if it starts with 2779, will it be a Vodacom number or another service provider?
It could be Vodacom,
Yes.
it could have been ported out of
Okay.
Vodacom.
All right.
Kusho ukuthi yena kule nombolo lephelela nge-2779
And also
kungakhonakala ukuthi ingaba yaka-Vodacom noma ayona yaka-Vodacom.
and then similarly with the number 277072, it could be a Vodacom number, barring that it may also be ported to another service provider, correct?
Exactly.
nayo lena uthi kungakhonakala ukuthi leyo nombolo iphothwe yisebenziswa abanye abama-cellphone ingaba kubo.
Now, in the absence of those 205s, because we are trying to ascertain whether communication, because the purpose of, according to the analysis by Colonel Stein and the mandate to him, was to check whether or not there were communications intercede between the parties in the house and the parties in the house with the suspects. So in the absence of this, the picture then becomes incomplete because we don't have the 205s from the other service providers, for example.
Sorry, why do you say the picture becomes complete?
I'm saying incomplete.
This witness,
Yes,
this witness,
yes,
they acts on affidavit.
yes.
After reading the affidavit, they say, give us section 205 of Ratamo Khwatleng.
Yes.
The number is, they don't even tell him the number, the name. They say
Yes.
the number is 12345. She doesn't have authority to go beyond that. Am I right? Actually, section 200. Is it 200?
With section 205 for the
No,
subpoenas.
no, no. Section 200 tells you what happens when information like this is requested, how you go about it.
No, I'm not saying she was supposed to go beyond because she's saying the other numbers that I've listed may have been from other service providers. So hence I'm saying the picture is incomplete without those. I'm not saying she didn't do a job.
You may say that to Sebande, your colleague, but not to those witnesses. This witness, your mandate is circumscribed.
Yes.
And you said it was 3 numbers you're supposed to deal with concerning this matter.
Yes.
That's it. Otherwise, we're going to be here the whole year.
Kusho ukuthi yena ebesebenza njena ngesicelo lesi kwacelwa u-state ukuthi abheke ziphi iy'nombolo.
My Lord, I want to also raise an objection at this stage, because from what I understood when this question was raised yesterday, it was hypothesis. Is it now being stated as a fact that there was a communication between the people in the house as well as the suspect?
My Lord, I'm saying that was the evidence of Mr. Stein. So I'm premising my question. I'm not speaking about the truthfulness of whatever was raised by Mr. Mgomezulu regarding these questions, my Lord. And I'm over that because I've understood the evidence of the witnesses.
My Lord, again, I do not see where Colonel Stein said there was communication between the people in the house as well as the suspect from his evidence.
My Lord, in speaking at cross purposes, what I'm saying is that the evidence of Colonel Stein was that his mandate from Colonel Beninda was to check various communications, that is, the parties in the house intercede and whether those parties then communicated with the would-be suspects. I'm not saying he said there was communication between those parties.
Okay.
As the court places. Now, let us complete this picture, man. Yesterday, I partly left it in Nemo. There's a tower called Moleleki Tower,
Yes.
right? And according to Colonel Stein again, he said that tower serviced amongst the areas, because it's not one particular area, but one of the areas itself was the Basotho Hostel, right? I'm not sure how we came to that conclusion, but that was his testimony. Now, the background for this question is the following. A witness came to court here, Mr. Zungu, and testified that on the day in question, he was with other people at the Basotho Hostel, where there was a song and dance and meat eating and the merry, including the 5 suspects before court. Now, my question simply is this. It's the same exercise that we went through yesterday with the 816 number that is attributed to accused number 3. If you look on the date of the 26th of October 2014, is there a stage, any stage, where that 816 number registered any activity at the Moleleki Tower? So triple G1. So if you look at triple G1, 26th of October 2014.
So there's no specific time for the 26th?
Yes, if you just generally look, because the witness says, if I recall his evidence correctly, Mr. Zungu, he joined them around 2-3 in the afternoon at the hostel until they departed later at night.
So you want this witness to do what? This one?
To look at the 26th.
Why don't you put it to her? It would make sense to me.
Yes.
If you put it to her that Zungu says when he was at the hostel, at Basotho Hostel, accused number 3 or 4 or 5 phoned. He was using the cell phone. Because that's the only way you can connect the evidence. Otherwise, this lady, I don't know how you're going to do it.
My Lord, I'm saying, with respect to 8169,
Phoning who? That's the point.
location of the tower itself.
Yes, but
Yes.
phoning who?
It could have phoned anyone, my Lord. What I'm interested in is not a particular person, it's the location of the tower.
My Lord, also want to raise an objection. Can the witness also be referred to the relevant passage in the evidence of Colonel Stein where he says the Moleleki Tower service the Basotho Hostel?
You know what? I don't want to I don't want to be said I'm interfering. Colonel Stein at some stage was asked, can you estimate the distance between the call which was made allegedly from a particular house? I don't know if it's Kelly's house or whatever, because they said that phone, you remember, the phone which was allegedly picked up or stolen or robbed, its track ended up to the hostel. You remember that evidence?
Yes.
Right. And Stein estimates that as 1.5 kilometers. Remember that. Now, listen, okay, it doesn't matter, but listening to this lady, common sense and logic tells you that she said the radius in build-up area is what? Of the towers?
In built-up areas, anything from 200
Yeah.
meters to 5 kilometers.
That's it. That's how I see the evidence and interpret it. Maybe I'm wrong. Fine.
I'm not sure, my Lord, we are on the same wavelength
Okay.
with the court. And with respect to, just to address my learned colleagues' objection, that is something, because I've got the record here, that is something that I will be able to the record on and then talk to him. Now, let's speak about the crime scene itself, which is 13511 Kupano Street, Nizamo section, Spring View. Again, Colonel Stein stated that, according to him, this address specifically is covered by the spread view and parquet towers. And then in your evidence, you said the distance from spread view tower to the crime scene is how many meters or kilometers?
I'm referring back to the map.
It's
From Spruit View to the crime scene.
okay.
So
If I refer you to Exhibit J7 in brackets category.
Yes. So on page 4 of the map, it says distances to crime scene. So the first entry is Spruit View to the address 13511 Kutlawong Street. It's 1.18 kilometers.
Uthi ukusukela la kwakuyenzeka khona isehlakalo ukusuka kule tower ikhele nge 1.18 kilometers.
And then similarly, the distance from Parquet to the crime scene.
From Parquet to the crime scene, it's 2.2 kilometers.
Kanti mawusuka kule tower yaseyithiwa ikhaya 2.2 kilometers.
And now, in your expertise and given the evidence that you've given about the coverage area, the range of a tower, will both towers, in your opinion, serve the crime scene?
Yes, it's within the vicinity.
Ngokuya ngaye omabili lamatawa ayakhona ukuthi afike kulapho kwenzeka khona lesi siyehlakalo.
Now, the final aspect that I would like to touch with you refers to Exhibit GD 5E Roman figure 1. That will be the section 205 in respect of the number that ends with 24.
Okay, which page are we looking at?
So now, if I may take instructions. Thank you, Madam Mediator. It will be for the number that ends with 8460. Do you have that in front of you? Exhibit DD 5E Roman figure 2.
this exhibit comprises of number 6890.
Yes, there's another one. The number is attributed and associated to accused number 2, the 8460. It was given to us as exhibit DD5E, Roman figure 2.
I don't see that number on this exhibit. Number ending
8460.
Yes, 8460 is this small section
Yes, the
here.
small section. I just want you to go to just a few aspects on that one. The towers on the 17th of June 2020. We're starting at 08:52:07.
On the 17th of June at 08:52:07, the tower that was picked up was Hawaii Street.
Ukuthi le tower le bayibonile noma le tower le bayiphike apho yi Hawaii le bayiphike apho nge-17 zakaJune 2022.
And the transaction or the activity,
That activity was a call that was received from 081 05 77786 to the number ending 8460, and that cell phone was on voicemail, which reflects as CF.
Ukuthi leyo ikhomba ukuthi kwakuyi inombolo lephelela nge-64890 kanti ithe mayishayela kulenye yathola leya iya ku-voicemail.
and then at 08:53 and 59 seconds,
The tower is the old Apostolic Church,
Itawa yi Old Apostolic Church
and the activity is 8460, still being on voicemail.
kanti yona le nombolo ye 8460 yaya ku-voicemail futhi.
And that was from the number 7786.
Inombolo le ye 7786.
and at 2 times at 09:37:07 and 10:08:34, which towers are picked there?
Foslera Square.
Leyo pick up a Post-confiscation Square.
And then the activity,
8460 remains on voicemail, and
8460 yilobi ku-voicemail nangaleso sikhathi.
at 9:37 a call came from 7786,
Kuyase kuvela ucingo leli laliqhamuka ku-7786.
and at 10:08 it was a number ending 1698.
Bese kwakuyi le inombolo le beyishayela kwakuyi 1698. Lephelela ngo-1698.
and then we go to 15:34:48.
That transaction was an a empty SMS which was received by 8460. That tower reflecting is Ben Fullion.
Lena kwakuyi-SMS iqhamuka ku-8460 kuyinombolo ka-MTN.
Now, before you go further, just this transaction at 15:34:48, Colonel Stein testified that, and also Sergeant Mohale, that Belmfeldwin Street, it's a street closer to the Pretoria North SAPS, right? And then let's move, because I'll come back to this aspect when I summarize it together. At 1940 and 22,
At 1940-22, we pick up Pretoria North. And the transaction there was the number 8460, received a call from the number ending 7786, and that lasted 43 seconds.
leyo kwakuyinombolo le-8460 kanti yayiqhamuka ngase-Pretoria North ibanjwa ile tower yase-Pretoria North.
now let me give you a bit of a background. The reason I'm focusing on this fewer transaction with the 8460 number, and then I'll want to also bring in together the 6890, is that my instructions from accused number 2, and it's been put to the witnesses, that he was arrested on the 16th of June 2020. And when he was arrested, the two police officers that arrested him, Sergeants Mohane and Mabena, confiscated 2 phones on him, right? And my instructions are this number, the 076-264-846 number, was on the smaller phone, the white phone that belongs to her sister, but it was in his possession. And the 6890 was in the Samsung Galaxy with the 6890 number together with another 073 number, because it was a dual SIM number. Now, if we look at these transactions, the 17/6/2020, firstly, on the 17th, accused number 2 was in custody in the Pretoria North police station. He was never booked out during that day. So when these transactions occurred, in line with your evidence that a transaction occurs when the phone is within the vicinity of a tower. So the user must have been within the vicinity of a tower for it to have a signal. The accused was never at Hawaii. We don't know where that is, but the Phosphorus Square, because we know that towers are named after locations sometimes. So he was never there. He was never booked out on the day. And then the importance thereof will come here. At 1940 and 22, the last transaction on the 17th, this phone registers at 3G Pretoria North NGA. And then if we go to Exhibit DDE, Roman figure 1, with respect to the 6890 number, we will see that at around the same time, maybe 1950-55, accused number 2 was still in Pretoria North, but the 6890 is still making activities, and we know for background purposes, I'm sorry for being long, that at the time, accused number 2 was being interrogated by the police at the boardroom, because we've got an entry, which is Exhibit NN from Pretoria North, and I'm going to read it. It says, investigation back 1955, Sandiso Bongani Ntanzi, booked it back by Sergeant Mohan. So when these transactions were occurring, the phones were not with accused number 2. That's the gist of what I'm trying to put to you. Right?
Uthi yena naleso sikhathi kuyenzwa la maciko unumber 2 bengeka khona ukwenza ngoba ngaleso sikhathi bese-police station namapholi ngoba ukusho umthali noMabhena yena bengeka khona ukuthi akhona ukushaya ucingo ngaleso sikhathi ngoba usabuzwa imibuzo ngamapolisi yena mayiphendula ngibona kunikina njena ikhaya.
Okay. Then let's move to the date with respect to 8460. Let's move to the date of the 18th of June 2020. Let's start at the time 11:10:45.
At 11:10,
My lord, can I just jump in here? Can the witness also be given an opportunity to respond to what has been said? And then furthermore, our version is that the phones were not confiscated at that stage, my lord. That's correct, please.
My lord, as I stated under Host, I said data is data. I'm not going according to the version. I'm going according to the data here.
Which data is that?
The data of the phone 8460 that accused number 2 said it's his number, and the data of 6890. I'm not going according to any version.
Indeed, so, but can the witness comment on the activities as well, whether those were phone calls, whether the phone was on voicemail? Because the impression that is being created, it seems that the phone was on call or SMSs were being sent.
Sorry, according to the state version, those two cell phones allegedly taken by Mabena and his colleague, according to Mr. Ramsepedi, when were they actually taken?
From the accused.
From the state's version.
8th of February 2021.
8th of February.
That's correct.
And
The
were
information
they booked in the SAP 13 register
That's correct.
on the 8th of June?
8th of February
Sorry.
2021.
8th of February.
That's correct.
Okay,
And
fine.
eventually they were taken to Middelburg for downloading and
Downloading.
further analysis. That's correct.
Yes, Mr. Ramsipi, you are asking about the 16th, the 18th, the 17th. According to the state's versions, they say that phone was booked in apparently at Middelburg, is it?
Yes, at the TSU.
That's correct.
So,
My lord, we've got mutually destructive versions.
I hear you.
Yes. Theirs is that the phone was obtained by Mohani and Mabena, and only the one phone, the 6890, at Villeria Police Station on the 7th of February 2021. The version of accused number 2 and my instructions are that the phones were there and then on the 16th of June 2020. When he was arrested, Mabena and Mohani took the phones. Hence, my lord, the gist of what I'm showing the witness is that indeed, the following day, when accused number 2 is in Pretoria North Police Station, coincidentally, the 8460 registers an activity in Pretoria North, and similarly with the 6890 registers activities in the Pretoria North tower, my lord.
yeah, fine, you can go on.
Yes.
I was just wanting to refresh my memory about the version of the state.
Yes, that is the proper understanding, even from myself, my lord. Now let's go to the activity of the 18th of June 2020 with respect to the 8460 number.
On the 18th of June at 11:10:45, 8460 received an SMS, and the tower reflected there is West at Driefontein mine.
Yeah, before we proceed, because so
isuke yathola i-SMS kanti ngaleso sikhathi ithole i-SMS le tower le beyithumela leyo SMS kwakuyithawa le yase Driefontein mine.
I just want to give you a bit of background with respect to these transactions. It is the evidence of Sergeant Mohani, and indeed accused number 2 has given me the same instructions that on the 18th of June, he was taken to Sibanye Stillwater mine. That is where he was employed at the time of his arrest for the police officer, Sergeant Mohani, Mabena, later joined by Colonel, so he was Colonel by then, but now Brigadier Gininda, and Sergeant Mohola for investigative purposes. So if we see, and also Colonel Stein testified about this when he was speaking about the AVL record of the motor vehicle that transported accused number 2 to Sibanye mine. So if we see West Driefontein mines and East Driefontein, I'd assume those are the towers at the Sibanye mine, right? So just I interjected you. What was the transaction there at 11:10:45?
At 11:10:45, the number ending 8460 received an SMS.
Ukuthi leyo nombolo le iphelela nge-8460 ngaleso sikhathi yithole i-SMS.
And the tower location?
Oh, that was West Driefontein mine.
Leyo tower le beyithumela le SMS kwakuyitower le yase West Driefontein mine.
And let's go to the transaction of the time 11:39 and 58 seconds.
8460 was on voicemail at 11:39:58 seconds. The tower reflecting is East Driefontein, and the cell phone was on voicemail during that time.
Yona le nombolo ngaleso sikhathi yithola le SMS yase kule tower yase Driefontein. Yaya ku voicemail.
The time of 11:42:05.
8460 was still on voicemail.
Nangaleso sikhathi yona i-8460 yayisese ku voicemail.
East Driefontein was still the tower picked up.
Itower le beyithola leyo SMS kwa kuyitower le yase West Driefontein mine.
And then the time of 12:08:17.
During that time, 8460 was still on voicemail, and the tower picked up was West Driefontein mine.
Nangaleso sikhathi i-8460 yayisese ku voicemail. Naleyo tower kwakusese yona le yase West Driefontein mine.
And the times, let me put them together, 16:35 until 14:07, in fact, 14:30:52.
8460 remained on voicemail, and East Driefontein mine, East Driefontein was the tower.
East Driefontein mine tower yona yayithumela ukuthinthana le 8460 kodwa yayithola ukuthi yona leyo cell phone yisese ku voicemail.
Okay. And then let's go to the time of 19:03 and 20.
8460 remains on voicemail. The tower reflecting there is Furwood Park.
Nangaleso sikhathi yona le nombolo le phelela nge-8460 yayisese ku voicemail kodwa itower le beyithumela yayithinthana nayo yitower yase Furwood Park.
Okay, we've already dealt with this earlier yesterday when I dealt with you that, and I gave you the background to say, upon return from the Sibanye Stillwater mines, the evidence of Sergeant Mohale was that they then went towards the Albertine site, accused number 2 in transit in the car that they were transporting him in, because they were doing certain investigation in Albertine. But importantly, this Furwood Park SGS tower is in Furwood Park, a township in Albertine, as we have seen. So those were the aspects that I wanted to take with you. My Lord, if I may approach case number 2.
Yes.
Other court cases. as the court pleases, my lord, just one aspect. Now, per the evidence, this phone, as the state's version, not our version, that Mohani says it was taken from accused number 2 from Valeria Police Station on the 7th of February 2021. I want you to go to the date that we talked about, which is from the 15th of March 2021, and tell me if that phone, whilst it's at the TSU in Middelburg, is still making transactions.
As we mentioned yesterday, I was supposed to have gotten that case ID with
Yes.
the relevant information,
Yeah.
and I didn't receive it.
No. There's a bit. Remember, the bit that I wanted was from the 3rd of March, because the record ends on the 2nd of February 2021. But that one, let's put it aside until you get the case ID and the relevant information from my colleague. I'm taking you about the bit now that does exist there after the phone was confiscated by the police. I think the date will be the 15th of March 2021.
This data, the 15th of March. This data only goes up until the 12th of February.
12th of February.
So we would require
Yeah, okay, we will
other case
revisit, then we will
ID.
revisit that again, as the court pleases, madam.
Ukuthi njengoba bebheka ukuthi makabuke ngeyi-15 zakaMarch ukuthi lena ayifiki la iphelela ngeyi-7 zakaFebruary nge-minimum day ethekile la.
Sorry, that data, which you say ends on the 12th.
Yes, my lord. This is on page
Yeah,
1 of 2, on case ID 103-1246.
and you say you don't have that,
It's not attached to here.
but were you instructed to actually get that data in terms of the affidavit?
I do have that data available, but it's not printed here.
It's not in your computer.
It is.
Where's your computer? Yeah, look at it.
Okay. And it's fine if you don't have a copy, my lord?
Yeah, because you call council to go there
Okay.
and have a look at the computer. Or you can take the computer to council.
Okay. Can I project it?
Yes.
Okay, let me look for the data first. Can we have the screen on, please?
Mrs. Rania, screen.
are looking at the 15th of,
Yes, I just want, and it's a general question, because like I'm saying, we now know, according to the version of the state, that the phone was taken from accused number 2 on the 7th of February 2021. And there's that lacuna where you say the evidence, you're still going to have to look into the case ID. But I want to know, after the 7th of February, based on this data here, are there any other activities? Because now this phone is with the TSU in Middleburg.
okay, so on the printed version, it ends at 12th of March, and it reflects an undefined tower.
Yes.
Once we look at the screen, the data then continues from the 2nd of March 2021,
Yes.
and we pick up Mtogoda Tower.
uthi mayibuka lana njengoba isukela ngethuba kaMarch mayibuka ithawa le itholayo yimdokoda tower.
Okay. And do you know what the activities were there for the phone to pick up the tower?
Yes, these are USSD interactions, which means it's the star 140 or star 120 hash. It's an interactive application that you do on your handset itself.
Okay.
Kanti ukuya ngale njenengwane ibonisa ukuthi le cellphone isebenzise njena ukuthi isebenze nge-USSD ile uthi mawuyigova le cellphone yakho bese wenza u-star bese ufaka leyo nto oyifinayo bese yenza USSD.
And then beneath that, I see there's a call forward, but unfortunately I'm too far.
Yes, it is a call forwarding, which means 8460 was on voicemail from 1959 right until 1837.
Kwaba khona ucingo leli la lifanele lishayele le nombolo kodwa nangaleso sikhathi lelo cingo alizange likhone ukungena ukuthi lithole ukuthi leyo cellphone isavaliwe.
And after, after the USSD entries that I see, the 4 below there, there's another call forward, there's something that I cannot decipher, and there's MTSMM, mobile terminating text messages, SMSs. Can you put at least the MTSMs into record now?
Yes, on the 16th of March at 12:06:48, number ending 8460 received an SMS.
Nge 16th of March yona le nombolo le etsela nge-8460 yathola i-SMS
From the number 087-537-0953, and the tower reflecting here is Kilmoon.
Kilmoon. Yase ithola leyo ithawa le beyithumela kwakuyigama layo leyo thawa i-Kilmoon.
I want to jump in here and object. This number ending with 8460, is it the number that was confiscated with the cell phone at Valeria, or is the number ending with 6890 that was confiscated at Valeria?
Okay. Yeah, my lord, let me withdraw those questions. My mind is at cross purposes because this is in respect of the 846 number. So the number that we're still waiting for the data from the 2nd of March onwards.
She's got it there, please. It's in the computer, she says. Everything which you say.
No, the one for
wait. The data you're saying you are waiting for it from
Yes.
your colleague, Mr. Sebanda. The witness says she has it in her computer.
Okay, let me ask
So
her.
why should we wait
No, let me
for the
ask
hard
her.
copy when we've got it here?
Let me ask her, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am. I see. I've taken you out of the number because this pertains to 8460. I want the data for 6890 from the 2nd of February to after the period when the phone was taken, that is the 7th, the 8th when it was taken to TSU in Middleburg. Do you have that on your laptop as well?
The number ending 6890.
Remember, on Exhibit DD5E, Roman figure 1, it ends on the 2nd of February 2021. But with the version of the state that the phone was taken from 7 February from accused number 2 at Valeria, and then on the 8th is transferred to TSU for analysis and downloading. So that's the data I'm interested in.
Okay, just bear with me. It is a few cases to go through. I just want to show you the previous case. So this is for the same number.
Yes.
I'm not sure if you can see. It's 6890.
Yes, I said you should.
So it shows 6890, and then this data starts from the 1st of September 2020. I'm hovering over here, right? If we go to the end of this, we in November. So on this set of data, it ends round about November. If you can see my mouse hovering here, 29th November.
29th November.
Yes. And then as we move on to the next date, we then only see data from the 15th of March 2021, which I have indicated previously. So from the period, I would say sometime in December, right until early March,
No activity.
we don't have any activity.
Ukusukela lapho mase eyibheka lana abuzange kube khona okuthize lokukwenzekayo emveni kwalokho.
Ma'am, now I'm a bit confused. Remember when we were dealing with and when you were led on the transactions at Queenswood, most of those transactions relate to December 2020. So it doesn't end with 29 November. But importantly, this is the data, the 15th of March onwards. It was my question that after the phone was allegedly confiscated by the police, does it make transactions whilst it's in the hands of, I don't know what they are called in TSU in Middleburg, whether they are specialists, they are experts, but in the hands of the police because they are law enforcement agents.
Okay, we can make absolutely sure. I just went to the last page with transactions, so it could be sometime in December. But if we look at 2021,
Yes.
this is where the transactions start from.
But my gist and my question is, transactions are made on the 15th or from the 15th of March,
Yes.
on the very same 6890, whilst it is, we know, in the hands of TSU in Middleburg. That was my question.
Well, as we can see, data is from the 15th of
It's a
March.
court basis, my lord, that's what I'm
Kuya ngabe uyayibuka lana ukuya ngale ndlela engakhona noma la ma-cellphone amaphoyisa bese bawathathile akulaba abawafunyayo ama-TV kodwa wona i-cellphone yabonisa lana ukuthi iphelele nge-15 zakaMarch.
Yes, it's still. Nisi.
As it is the court, my lord, I realize it's almost 11:20. I'm not so sure whether we need to proceed or it's just an opportune time to take a short break.
Yeah, okay, let's break continue.
As it is the court. Rosie, when I talk to you.
on the phone ending with 6890. From my understanding, activities on Nemo includes outgoing, incoming call, and text messages. Can he then put it into a proper perspective and point out those activities to the witness? Because the impression that is being created that those activities as per Nemo.
Sorry, my lord, if I may go here because I cannot see the screen. I respond from this now. Now let's go back to this, the date of the 15th of March 2021. And first by asking you, this information that is here, this page that is depicted on the big screen, where does it come from?
It is a continuation of this big data exhibit DD5.
And DD5, we agree that it's extracted from Nemo.
Yes, that's correct.
Uthi le mininingwane levela lana emveni kwelanga le-15 kaMarch uqhubekela phambili yile mininingwane leyithole ku-Nemo.
And by activity, let's be clear on that one. I went through with you with that yesterday. Activity, it's text message, received, sent, calls made, received, unanswered, which is call forwards or the phone is off. It will show somebody tried to phone you. Also data usage, that is Google, WhatsApp, whatever you are doing on the internet, right?
That's correct, yes.
Now,
Uthi kuyiqiniso ukuthi yona le mininingwane le uyithola lana uyithola njengoba ucingo ulisebenzisa ngokufona noma ukuthumela i-message noma uyathetha noma ku-Google.
now let's go back to the time, the one that I see randomly, 15/23/35, on the 15th of March 2021. Put that on record, that the activity that occurred there.
At 15:23:35 on the 15th of March 2021, the number ending 6890 was on voicemail.
Uthi nge-15 kaMarch yona le nombolo lephelela nge-6860 yayi ku-voicemail ngaleso sikhathi.
The number ending 3204 tried to call the number 6890. The tower picked up there is Grundling, which is MPU Mpumalanga.
Leyo ke yasebanjwa yile ndawo yasedlweni yaseMpumalanga.
Now, I'm not going to take you through all of those. In the context of my learned colleague's objection just now, I did not suck this thing up from my thumb. This thing comes from Nemo's, and this CF, it is a transaction, correct?
It is a transaction because there's a call duration.
Let's go to
Kuyakhomba ukuthi lokhu awuthathanga njena aphumi njena kuwe. Yiloko ukukhomba lana ukuthi lelo cingo lasebenza.
Let's go randomly again to the 17th of March 2021 at 11:23:54. There's an activity of incoming SMS. Do you see that?
Yes.
Put that on record everyone.
The number ending 6890 received an SMS at 11:23:54. That was a SMS sent from Vodacom, and the tower picked up there was still Grundling.
Okay.
Uthi le nombolo yathola i-SMS kanti yayithola kule tower le ye-Grundling.
Okay. Let's see if on this data from the 15, 16, 17, wherever it ends, if there were any incoming calls or outgoing calls.
No, there were no incoming or outgoing calls. The next column is GPRS data. The calls, the AMA transactions in at 19 March 2021 at 13:58:31 seconds.
uthi lapho ke usuka lapho akuzange kube khona udingo leli langena noma lapho imininingwane njena le vela ku-GPR.
And the GPRS data is for the date of the 15th of March 2021, but just in summary, we've dealt with this before. You've stated that GPRS data may be anything, maybe a data call, maybe an internet search, maybe anything that has got to do with the user using internet on his device, correct?
Yes.
Malo, those are the questions that
Lokho
I need to
kukhomba ukuthi akulona kungokwendalo imininingwane lena ungayithola kuSiya noma ngedayisa ngakho ngayenza leyo mininingwane.
Yes, sir. Mr. Minister.
Can I close this down, my lord?
Yes, you are through with this.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor. And also thank you for such invaluable assistance in the aspect of your evidence that you came to deliver here. It was really invaluable. And that shows that the 26 experience that you have at Vodacom is not for nothing. Thank you again. Now, you told the court that part of your studies that you went through, you had a diploma in legal studies that you got from Tamelin in 2022, not so. Thank you. You also had other certificates that you also obtained from Vodacom University, which relate to fraud, corruption, and other various aspects of the law. Not so.
Imfundo zakhe waba certificate futhi lezi ezayithule ku-Vodacom ezokuphenya ezokukhwabanisa.
Now, in your area of operation, how does fraud manifest itself?
Could you perhaps elaborate?
Thank you. You know, when somebody that is working at a bank and they're talking of fraud that is happening at a bank, do you still remember checks? Yeah, somebody would write the 110 rand on the check, and somebody will come and write and add another one there to be 1,110 rand. That is actually fraud.
Correct.
Do you understand?
Uyavuma ukuthi nangabe umuntu uyakhwabanisa omunye angabhala u-10 rand bese omunye umuntu kuleyo check bese ufaka u-1 bese lokho kuphenduke kube yi-110 rand.
Now when they go and catch the check, let's say the master sent him to go and catch 110 rand, and then he adds his other one, then it becomes 1,110 rand. Then at the bank gives him that 1,110 rand, and then he takes the 1,000 rand. Then he takes to the master that 110 rand. That is fraud, not so. That is how fraud manifests itself amongst others at the bank or in the banking industry. But there are a number of examples. That was just one of the examples. Thank you. Do you now understand?
Yes.
Now, in your area of operation, cell phone data system, how does fraud manifest itself? For you to have been also taught about fraud.
So we have SIM card fraud, where fraudulent SIM swaps are done. We have identity fraud, where an incorrect person would pose as that particular person and take out a cell phone contract. We have fraud whereby airtime
Yes.
is purchased or given to somebody else fraudulently.
Yes.
So there's a number of ways that we experience fraud.
Kusho ukuthi
I
la
deal
isebenza
with them.
khona ukukhwabanisa ukuthi ukukhwabanisa kwakhona kungaba ama-sim card, bakhwabanisa i-sim card bese kuba ukukhwabanisa kwama-ID bese umuntu uyangena ukwenza i-contract ye-cellphone kanti ngaleso sikhathi bese uphana ngamagama awangasiyiwo owakhe bese lokho kuphenduka ukuthi i-fraud uyakhwabanisa ngaleyo ndlela ukuthi kuningi lokho ebakutholayo.
Thank you. That is just one of the examples. Now, you told the court that I don't know whether this is an argument between the cell phone providers, but clearly speaking about Vodacom here. You're working for Vodacom, not so. And the South African police, that they are granted some access into your system where they can have an access to the section 205. Did I get you clear on that?
Yes, it's not every member of the South African Police Services. It is a handful of SABC members
Yes.
that work at the TSU in all 9 provinces. They have access to the front end of our Nemo system.
Yes.
Ukuthi basebenzisana namaphoyisa kanti akuwona wonke amaphoyisa laba bavunyelwe ukuthi bangangena kulama system wabo kodwa lawo maphoyisa banikezwe imvumo yokuthi bangangena kulama system wabo nangabe baphenya indaba zokukhwabanisa kule TSU nakhona babakhona lawo maphoyisa wonke lama province. Hayi ukuthi baningi kanjalo abekho baningi.
Thank you. Now, you further told the court that those who have the liberty or the privilege to get into your system gets allocated with a code. What did you say now? It's PIN number or PIN code.
They have a username
Yes.
and a password.
Password.
Laba bavunyelwe ukuthi bangangena kulama system wabo banikezwe yibona le nkampani yabo ibanikeze ama username amagama lawo abangangena ngawo noma ama password basebenzisa ama password ukungena kulama system wabo.
Now, who gives them, or where do they get this password and the username from?
So they actually sign an application, a Nemo application form.
Yes.
They are vetted. They are given a username and password by my management.
Kanti ngaphambi kokuthi bakhona ukungena lawo maphoyisa bafanele banikezwe imvumo kubona base baphana ngamagama ukuthi awobani umanejara wabo la isebenza khona kube uyena ozobanikeza imvumo yokuthi bangakhona ukungena kulama system.
Thank you. Now, just to get a clearer picture, assume Mr. X is attached to a TSU. He's a member of the South African Police. He's been granted access by having been handed with a password and a username by your manager. Then you specifically working on a particular case. Does Mr. X have to liaise with you before they get into the system, or they can just get into the system as and when they want?
So let me just make mention that Nemo
Yes.
is auditable. We do an audit trail on Nemo. in terms of access and who does what, when they do, whatever they need to do. So in terms of just accessing the system for no apparent reason, we would then know that at Vodacom. Nemo actually is traceable. We see what work is done on. And in terms of the TSU, you will have to upload section 205. You have to add the relevant information such as the IO's details, the CAS number, the crime. So all of that is monitored and is audited.
Kanti kuNemo ungangena njengoba bakungeze imvumo ukuthi ungangena kulama system kodwa nase ungenile bazokhona ukubona ukuthi wena wawungene kuNemo ngenxa yokuthi unayo ipassword ne-user yokuthi ungene kodwa ku-TSU mawungena khona ufuze ufake imininingwane eminingi ehambelana nalo mthetho we-205 ukuthi ama-case number ufake kube yikhona lokho ozokhona ukuthi ungangena kuyo i-TSU.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, as I understand you, in our example of Mr. X, Mr. X does not necessarily have to get into the system through you, being a person that is working on a particular case. You can just get in as and when, as long as he logs in his details and all the information that you would use later on for the auditing purposes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Lo Mr. X yena angakhona ungena kodwa uzokhona ukubona kuzobonakala ngenxa yokuthi le system nangabe yena ungenile njengoba bemnikeze imvumo ukuthi angakhona ungena kodwa mase bona bayobhekisisa noma ba auditor imisebenzi yabo bazokhona ukubona ukuthi lo muntu obengenile.
Now, there are many reasons that Mr. X can get into the system for. Are there specific areas, are there specific areas that you would allow Mr. X to get into your system for?
Yes, well, Mr. X would only have access to the front end.
Yes.
And no other access. Different levels of access are created for different people. So in terms of my access to Nemo, it would be different to Mr. X or the TSU person. So
Mr. X noma ekhona ukungena kodwa akakhona ukungena athole yonke into ngaphakathi babanikeze imvumo yokuthi bangene kodwa uzongena athole lokho babanikeze imvumo yokuthi bangakuthola. Kusho ukuthi nangabe angathi ufuna ukudlulela ngale angeke akhona ukudlula ngoba imvumo yakhe yale bamnike yona ngale into yizovuma ukuthi angene ukuyofika endaweni ethize kuphela.
Thank you. Now, let's talk of Mr. X being a member of the TSU, and they have been requested by a certain investigating unit to check and compare cell phone activities of a particular suspect, and they want to get into your system, go and check on their section 205. Would they only be limited to that 205, or they can as well go to other areas within your system?
no, they are limited to what they submit.
Okay.
Mr. X or the TSUs have access to what they submit. I think
kusho ukuthi laba abanikezwe imvumo ukuthi bangakhona ukungena ngenxa yokuthi bafuna imininingwane ukuya nge-205 abakhona ukungenelela banikezwe njena indawo yokuthi bangangena ukuyofika kuphi abakhona ukungenelela bayingena baze bayophuma nje.
Thank you.
I think it's important for me to mention
Yes.
that If Mr. X submits a subpoena, we at the LEA department either declines that or approves that request.
Thingithi ku-Mr. X uyenza isicelo kulesi sicelo sakhe bona bayakhona ukuthi bangamvumela ukuthi angakhona ukuqhubekela phambili noma bona ngokwabo bangala leso sicelo sakhe.
Thank you. Let us not get into the dynamics of what would be the reason why it gets approved and the reason why it gets declined. Thank you. Now, Mr. X from the TSU. What does TSU stand for?
Technical Support Unit,
Thank you.
which is now called a POCM officers. It's a provincial office of interception and monitoring.
My colleagues did not get that. The what does, which is called now what? My colleagues did not get that. I also did not get that.
It's the provincial office of interception and monitoring.
Okay.
Ukuthi khona manje le TSU bayishintshile sekuyi-program.
Thank you. Now, Mr. X gets a permission to get into your system. He gets allocated with a password and a username. Thank you. Just there. Now, you have penned in affidavit. I don't know what exhibit is this now. I think in exhibit J1. In exhibit J1. Actually, in all the affidavits that we have penned, this is just a repetition of what is contained in J1, where you yeah, I think in all the affidavits that you've penned, it's just an extension of what is contained in exhibit J1, where you introduce yourself there, and do you have that affidavit? Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, I think it's on page, if I count the pages, it should start on page number 7, because up to page number 6, it's something else. It's a subpoena in terms of section 205, 51 of 1977, but now your affidavit starts in what would be a sequential reference as page number 7. Now, paragraph 1, 2, 3, you introduce yourself and all the things that you do. Number 4, you also state what called data-related information is and how it gets obtained, and it's just a brief explanation of your internal activities there at Vodacom. Thank you. Now, paragraph number 5. That is where you deal about the ethics of it all. The do's and don'ts and everything, not so?
Yes.
Yeah. Let us briefly, I don't want to read that on record. I will not be requesting you to read that on record because it's already evidence that is there. Actually, on paragraph number 4, there is somewhere, or amongst others, the following is stated. Once Vodacom receives a request, that is now on line number 1, 2, 3, 4, in the middle of line number 4, nay.
Yes.
Once Vodacom receives a request to access and supply an extract of call data-related information from a law enforcement agency, this extract is permanently electronically archived. That is understandable?
Uyavuma ukuthi ukuya ngale mithetho yabo kanti nangabe umuntu uyenza isicelo leso sicelo sifika kubona baba Vodacom mabeqeda ukusimukela lesi sicelo bazothatha leso sicelo sakhe bese siyobekwa kuma-archives kusho ukuthi kuma-safe la sizogcinwa khona siyohlala isikhathi eside sibekwe lapho.
Thank you. Now it proceeds and say, a call data related information is generated in a PDF format, stored and communicated by the servers and cannot be altered, manipulated, tampered with by anyone whilst on the servers. The manner in which the integrity of the call data is maintained is considered reliable as contemplated in section 15.3 of the Act, which I presume is the Act that is just mentioned above. That is now the Electronic Communications and Transaction Act number 25 of 2002. Is that not so?
Yes.
Do you confirm this?
Paragraph 4, yes.
Yes. What I've just read now, out on record. Right.
Uyavuma ukuthi leso sicelo njengoba sigcinwe lapho siyobekwa kuseba angeke kube noma ubani lozokhona ukungena noma ukusithinta siyohlala ngaleyo ndlela ngale ndlela besibeke khona.
Thank you.
Ngeke
Now,
kube khona lozokhona ukuthintana naso.
it seems to me. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I thought when you took a pause, I thought we just done, so I wanted to proceed. Are you done now?
I am done.
Okay, thank you, sir. It seems to me from the reading of this paragraph that there's a bit of a disclaimer from Vodacom. And I'm going to tell you why I say that. It says, the call data related information is generated in a PDF format, stored and communicated by the servers and cannot be altered, manipulated or tampered with by anyone whilst on the servers. Do you follow me? Thank you. Now that sounds to me that Vodacom says, whilst we are in possession of this information in our servers, nobody can manipulate it, nobody can tamper with it, and nobody can alter it whilst it's in our servers. Am I?
Correct.
Do I understand that to mean that? Thank you.
Uyavuma ukuthi njengoba umthetho wabo waka-Vodacom ukuthi umuntu nangabe uyenze leso sicelo siyogcinwa kulamaseva wabo. Nasi kulamaseva kusho ukuthi angeke kube khona umuntu ongakhona ukuyosithinta noma ukusishintsha noma ukuphazamisana naso. Uyavuma.
Thank you. So we are agreeing on this disclaimer part of it.
Yes.
Thank you. Now, back to Mr. X from the TSU, which is now name another, he's got another name. Mr. X comes with all his credentials. He's given access to your servers. He extracts that information. He takes it somewhere where you not know where does it take it to. Not so. Now,
Sorry, let me understand.
yes, madam.
Who extracts the information? Otherwise we're going to... Who extracts the
I'm
information?
getting there, madam.
No,
But you cannot.
We at Vodacom, LEA personnel extracts the information based on what the subpoena requests.
In other words, it's not an outside person who does that. Even if he has, as you say, a PIN and a name, etc. It never tampers with your internet machinery. Nothing.
Absolutely.
Okay, it's fine.
Uthi yena nangabe leyo mniningwane seyibona kulamaseva wabo noma uMr X enayo imvumo yokuthi angakhona ukungena angeke afune ukuyikhipha leyo mniningwane nangabe babona base bayigcinile kulamaseva angeke bakhona yibona kuphela bangakhona ukuyikhipha.
Thank you. Maybe there was a bit of a misunderstanding here. Is it not so that Mr. X from TSU, for them to be able to access your system, they need to have certain credentials?
Yes.
Now, once they have those credentials, they are then able to access your system in order to get that information that they want, not so?
Yes.
Exactly. So do you then understand? Do you then realize that me and you are on the same understanding? It means Mr. X is able to get into your system and retrieve the information that they want. Not that they will come to you and say, we want this information, and then you give it to them. I think that needs to be clarified to the court, because otherwise we are going to be, we'll be departing on different grounds, although parallel.
My lord, if I could just explain how Nemo
Yes.
works so that we could actually cut
Yeah.
short my evidence, so to speak. So as I've mentioned earlier, there's different levels of access. So what the members of the TSU does or do, they will add the information, as I've said, and upload the subpoena to Nemo, which is on the front end. It then comes to us, the LEA personnel. We will then verify the information that the TSU has submitted against the subpoena, the 205, and to ensure that it does correlate, we will then validate and approve it. It's just a click of a button. If the information that the personnel from the TSU has added incorrectly for some reason, or submitted an incorrect subpoena that does not correlate with that information, it is declined immediately. So once it's approved by a click of a button, it is then run for the data for that requested period. And whatever else is requested on that subpoena is what we're going to get out of at the end of the day. Once the case has completed, it is then validated again by the LEA personnel to ensure that all criteria are met. Once that is done, we then go and close the case. If there's any other documents that is required and the TSU personnel do not have access to request that documents, by all means, LEA personnel goes and adds those documents. Once it has completed, again, by a click of a button, the case is then closed. It's an automated system, so everything is done automatically. Once the case is closed, an SMS is sent to the investigating officer to say that your data is ready. Please go to the TSU to collect it. And then the member at the TSU will then receive that PDF document electronically. And by a click of a button, they just upload or download that information.
Uthi yena nangabe lo muntu noma ulungu leli linayo imvumo yokuthi lingafuna imininingwane lithumela isabhina bese lifaka kuleyo sabhina liyafaka ukuthi la licela lokhu nalokhu. Lokho bayosuka bahlale bakubheke ukuthi ngabe lento eyicelayo bangafuna ukumnika yona na. Nangabe bayibona singekho isidingo sokuthi bangamnika yona bayayala abavumi. Nangabe babona ukuthi ifanele ukuthi ayithole, yila bezoklika ibutton bese ibutton yona izovuma. Emveni kwalokho, emveni kokuthi bona basebenze okwabo umsebenzi, bazothumela yena lo nalo lo nemvumo yokuthi angangena kulama system, lo uzongena ku TSU, bese bamthumela ama-results wakhona ukuthi nawo ama-results yena uzoya bese uyakhipha lento eyifunayo, kodwa angeke akhona ukukhipha lokhu engakucelanga, ngeke ukukhona ukuphuma.
Thank you, Will. Now, this individual or the personnel from TSU, we've got an accreditation to get into your system. Are they conscientized of that little, what I refer to a disclaimer clause that Vodacom has and say, look, this information, whilst it is in our servers, this is the format. Once it gets out, what you do about it, nobody must come back to us and hold us responsible. Do you?
Yes, that is why it is mentioned in our statement
Yes.
that when the data leaves our systems or offices, it is submitted in a PDF format.
Yes.
So we at Vodacom, Leah Department, we are giving you the data in good faith
Yes.
in a PDF format.
Yes.
Once it leaves our office, we have no idea what happens thereafter.
Okay.
But our job is to provide it in the format that it is required to be shared or submitted to the IOs or to the TSU, and that's what we do.
Thank you.
kusho ukuthi bona bakwa-Vodacom noma wena unalo ulungelo lokuthi unganikeza lezi kodwa mase uzitholile mase zikhishwa siza kuyena bevuma ukuthi seungayoyidownloada noma uzithole bona bathi njengoba zingakuwe athina asingeni indawo ngeke uthi mase uzitholile ubuya ngalo mthetho wedisplay wena mase uzitholile nasi zimoshakala wena awukhona ukuthi ungabuya kithi bese uthi lezi zinto ngoba zazigcinwe yini azisabanga ngaleya indlela zazidingakala ukuthi zibe ngakhona ngoba bona bazikhipha ngendlela efanele nasi bekuvumela ukuthi usungazithola.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, in terms of your knowledge, is there another institution or other institutions except for the service providers, cell phone service providers, that are able and capable to provide these 205 applications?
No. We do receive other applications from other institutes, but under different acts, so not in terms of a 205.
Othi yena kulo mthetho we-205 yibona phela laba baka Vodacom laba bakhona ukunikeza leyo mniningwane kodwa kulama amanye amakampani lawa abasebenza ngama-cellphone bona banokucela okunye lokho kungahambelani nale mithetho bacela ngeminye imithetho lokho kuhambelana neminye imithetho hayi lo we-205.
So do I have to understand you to mean that except for Vodacom, MTN, Cell C, I'm not so sure if there's another service provider, cell phone service provider, maybe a telecom, I'm not sure. But except those reputable institutions, there's no person who's able and capable to generate something akin to a 205 Vodacom data.
I can only speak for Vodacom, and I can tell you that other than SABC, the South African Police Services, submitting a 205 subpoena,
Yes.
no one else has access to our systems to submit a 205 subpoena. As I've said, there are institutes, but under their legislation or their acts, they can then submit subpoenas.
Uthi ukuya ngaye ayikho enye inkampani le ngakhona ukuthi yenze isicelo se-205 ukuya ngemithetho yaka-Vodacom kodwa laba abanye bona bayakhona ukuthi bayenze lezo y'celo zabo ngeminye imithetho hayi lo hambelana ne-205.
Thank you, ma'am. What I mean in this context, a generation to generate, to generate the 205, like the format in which this 205 has been seen here at court, like this is the MSIDT and all those particulars that are contained in the 205. Is there any other institution except those reputable service providers that are capable of doing that?
If you're talking
Not
about,
a request.
if you're talking about a generation of a 205 subpoena, my understanding is that the IO has to generate that subpoena. He has to then get it stamped by the magistrate and a prosecutor. So if you want me to elaborate on that, that's my understanding, that only an investigating officer of a particular case can generate that subpoena.
Thank you, ma'am.
ukuya ngale ndlela ezwisisa ngakhona iphoyisa leli eliphenyayo yilona leli lingakhona ukuthi liyenze imininingwane yesapina lona ngokwalo ngoba leyo imininingwane yesapina iyenzwa abomshoshisi nabo bomantshi kanti lokho kusuka kuqelwa yileli phoyisa lelo leli lizabe liphenya icala.
Thank you, ma'am. Maybe I used the term 205 in a very loose way. That's how we normally understood it from years ago. But what I mean here, the data that is requested in terms of the 205 application, I refer to the data. In your understanding, except for these three reputable institutions, the service providers, is there any other institution that you know of that is capable of generating the data, they call data, which is the subject of the 205 application?
No, if it pertains to Vodacom, no other.
Thank you.
Uthi yena nangabe umuntu lamanye ama-cellphone afuna esinye isicelo se-205 ukuya ngaye akukhonakali ngaphandle ko-Vodacom kuphela yiyo ekhona ukuyenza leso sicelo.
Thank you. Your information is stored in a, is generated is generated in a PDF format. That is what is contained in paragraph 4, the anti-penultimate line of paragraph 4. What is this PDF format?
It is a portable document format.
Uthi le PDF kuyincwadi yile kuzobhalwa khona leyo mininingwane ibhalwe ngokulandelana kwayo.
So it's you say it's a document wherein the information that has been requested it's written on, if I may to use the word written, in a chronological sequence. That is what the interpreter said.
No, so
Yeah.
so
Can you please explain again? Don't worry, take your time. Take your
this
time. Yeah.
this exhibit,
Yes.
triple J1,
Yeah.
my statement,
Yes.
the data I provided.
Yes.
This is a PDF format.
Okay.
We cannot go back and overwrite what is written on here. We cannot remove anything. We cannot add any information on here. Once we give it an electronic signature, as you would then find
Yes.
on one of these pages, it is locked as a document.
Thank you.
Nothing can be altered, nothing can be manipulated, nothing can be added, nothing can be removed.
Thank you.
Uthi ukufana nalesi statement sakhe njengoba esesibhale ngale ndlela esingakhona angeke kukhonakale ukuthi kulesi statement bese uyofaka okunye phezulu noma ubhale okunye mase uqede ukusiyenza noma njengoba sesiyenzwe esinje awukhona ukuthi ungakhipha okunye lokho sokubhalile njengoba ubhale kuphelele kunjena bese uyaqine wabonisa ukuthi lana sengiqinile angeke kusakhona ukuthi kungafakwa yini noma kukhishweni kuzo.
Thank you, ma'am. Let us pause this aspect for now. I don't want to say let us put in the billions, because the billions could be too far, but let us just pause. Thank you. Now, exhibit triple G1. Exhibit triple G1. Now, that is a call data. I no longer say 205.
Yes.
That's a call data that was generated as a result of an application made in terms of 205 of the Criminal Procedure Act.
Yes, this triple G1 includes my statement as well as the call data. That is correct.
ukuthi le ncwadi lephethe iphethe imininingwane kanti ne-statement sayo.
Thank you, ma'am. That is also, it's generated and is also made available in a PDF format, not so?
Correct.
nayo ibhalwe ngendlela ye-PDF.
Thank you. Now, this call data had to do with the application in relation to cell phone number 072 766 8169, not so?
Correct.
Thank you.
Ikhuluma nge-cellphone number le qeda ukuyibiza manje.
Now, I'm going to be a protagonist of relevance. This trial, it's about an incident that occurred on the 26th of October 2014. 26 October 2014. The allegations that the state has brought before the court are that around 8:30 in the evening, there was an intrusion in a particular home at Hostel. It's an open secret. At, I think it's Kutlanong Street. Yeah, I think it's number 11. Yes, that is at this incident happened at number 13511 Kutwanong Street at Hostel. That is what brought us here. Now the state invited us and the accused to come here and be part of this trial on the allegations that are leveled against this accused. Amongst others, the state then went out of its way to demonstrate that the accused, I'm representing accused number 3, that accused number 3 as well was part of those intruders, or was one of those intruders who got into the house. Amongst others, to demonstrate that he was one of those intruders that got into the house, the state then led the evidence of his cell phone call data, which was handed in as Exhibit triple G1. Thank you. Now let's quickly go to the 26th of October 2014 in relation to the call data on the phone ending with 8169.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, that information, it starts, or the activities of the phone that ends with 8169 are on page number 10 of the call data. And they're just down the line. That's where the activities of the 26th starts. Are you with me, ma'am?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Now, I'm just asking myself whether it will be necessary for me to request you to repeat this information I just get into what I want you to comment on. I said to you, I'm going to the protagonist of relevance. That will be relevant as well, but I'm just asking myself if that will be necessary. I'm still thinking. Thank you, man. Now, on a number of occasions, man, you have been requested to relate this information, to put this information on record, not so.
Yes.
Yeah. I think the state did that. My state are also my colleagues. My colleague for the states also, they did that. My colleague, Mr. Mgomezulu, also did that. I think it would just be monotonous for me to request you to do that. That's all. So I therefore decide that I won't really be requesting you to do that. Thank you. But now, having gone through this information time and again and again and again and again and again and again, is it so that there's a particular trajectory, movement, that this phone, we're talking of a gadget, that this phone follows from that time, I think from the date of the 26th, which start with an entry at 7:12:58, that is 7 o'clock in the morning, 12 minutes past 7 o'clock and 58 seconds in the morning. And then it follows a particular trajectory up until the end of its activities or recorded activities, which are also on the 26th at 20:32:57. Are you with me, ma'am?
Yes, I am.
Fast for you.
I see that.
Thank you.
Uyabona ukuthi le cellphone yaqala ukusebenza nge-26 zaka-October 2014. Yiloku yasebenza yaze yayogcina ukusebenza ntambama ngebo 2032 ntambama.
Thank you.
Ukuthi uyakubona lokho.
And the next entry on that phone or activity on that phone is on the 27th, at 27th October 2014 at 8 minutes past 8, 17 seconds in the morning as well.
Correct.
Thank you.
Uyayibona ukuthi yaqala ukusebenza nge-27 ekuseni futhi yasiqala ukusebenza.
Thank you. Now, is it so, ma'am, that from its very first entry on the 26th, which is 12 minutes past 7, 58 seconds on the 26th in the morning, that this gadget indicates that at some stage is in Hout Street. From Hout Street, it's picked up by a tower at Moy Street. No, these are all the streets in Joburg. I don't know Joburg well, but I think I know Moy Street in Joburg. Yes. And then from Moy Street, you go to Volhuter or Wolhuta.
Yes.
Then from Wolhuta, it gets picked up by a tower at Foslore Square.
Correct.
From Foslore Square, it gets picked up by a tower at Musleke. From there, you go to Ponejo. From Ponejo, we're now on page 11. From Ponejo, it gets picked up by a tower of Tabonsako. Then also by a tower at Tabonsako. And then it also gets picked up by a tower at Sali section.
Yes.
And then from there, it gets into Foslores.
Correct.
It spends a lot of time, this gadget spends a lot of time at Foslores up until 16:28 in the afternoon on the 26th of October 2014. Do you see that?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Uyayibona the cellphone ukuthi ngokusebenza kwayo nge-21 iqeda ukusebenza eHouse eMoy Street yase iya eBolvetere yaseya eVolura yaseya elokuze eThabong yayoqeda isikhathi eside ise-phosphorus uyayibona.
And from Phosphorus, the next tower that picks up this gadget is Heidelberg Road, and that happens at 17 minutes, I call. It happens at 4 minutes past 17:39. I think it's 4 minutes past 5 in the afternoon,
Correct.
39 seconds, not so.
Correct?
Thank you.
Uthi uyayibona ukuthi ufikela lapho yase yobanjwa futhi le tower yase Heidelberg Road kanti ntambama ngaleso sikhathi kwakuyi 7 minutes past 5.
Thank you. Then from Heidelberg, from the tower that picks it up whilst this gadget is on its way to somewhere on the Heidelberg Road, it eventually gets picked up by another tower, which is Ben Rose. It also gets picked up by another tower at Ben Rose, also gets picked up by the same tower at Ben Rose. It also gets picked up by the same tower at Ben Rose. Then from there, it gets picked up by a tower at City Deep, by the same tower at City Deep, by the same tower at City Deep. Then eventually it gets picked up by a tower at GP Street.
Correct.
And that happens at 20 minutes past 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Is that correct, ma'am?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Yathi mase ibandwa ile yase Heidelberg yayibamba usuka lapho yaya eBen Rose yasuka lapho yaya eCity Deep usuka lapho yase yobanjwa yile eyokugcina ngabo 2000.
Now from GP, I think it's also a minister up in Joburg.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yase GP.
Yeah. I know there's a GP police station there. Yes. And then from there, from GP it gets picked up by a tower in Volhuta. From Volhuta it gets picked up by a tower in Belgravia. From Belgravia it gets picked up by a tower in Hout Street. From Hout Street it gets picked up by a tower in Moy Street. Now this is at 1934, that is 34 minutes past 7 in the afternoon or in the evening. Are you with me?
Yes.
Uyayibona ukuthi usuka lapho yabanjwa ile tower yase eBelgravia yase ibandwa eHout Street yaya ngaseMoy yayogcina ngo-1934 ukuthi 25 to 8.
Thank you.
34 minutes to 8.
Now the last Moy Tower to pick up this phone was at 1941.
That's correct.
Now from the Moy Tower it gets picked up by the Hout Street Tower, also by the Hout Street Tower at 16 minutes past 8 in the evening. From there it gets picked up by the Moy Tower as well. From there it gets picked up by the Hout Street Tower, also by the Hout Street Tower, also by the Hout Street Tower, and the last activity on this gadget is recorded to have been picked up by the Hout Street Tower at 32 minutes past 8, 57 seconds in the evening. That was the last activity that gets picked up by, that's the last activity of this gadget that gets picked up by Hout Street Tower on this day. That
Correct.
sums up basically the movement of this gadget on the day of the 26th, from the morning until the evening.
Correct.
Thank you.
Uthi uyavuma ukuthi akugcina le cellphone ibonwe noma ikape tower le yase Hout Street ntambama ebusuku.
Thank you. Now, ma'am, this evidence, I know I'm putting you in a corner, but I'm trying to give a holistic picture. This information that you prepared on behalf of the state is exactly what happened on that day, on the 26th of October 2014. In other words, what is contained in here, what the state requested you to assist them with, is exactly what happened on that day. That confirms the version of accused number 3. Thank you. In this respect, thank you.
Uyavuma ukuthi lokhu umshushisi bamcele laba umshushisi bamcele ukuthi azobanceda ngabo ngale mininingwane ephethe ile ncwadi yilokhu kwashwa number 3 kahle kahle uyavuma lokho.
Now, if circumstances were to demand that accused number 3 comes and explain to this court his movement on the 26th of October 2014, he would simply say, look at exhibit G1. Nay, that is G1. Yeah, he would simply say, look at exhibit G1. That was my movement. But in amplifying it, in its amplification of his movement, this is what he's going to say. And I say, if that need would arise, amongst others, I'm not here to proffer his full version, his whole story. If he has got a story to tell, that is going to be him. But in summary, this is what his version is going to be, if you call upon to come and explain his movements on the 26th. This is what we would say. That indeed, he was staying in Joburg, at the corner of Hans and Moy Street. Just a second, man. May I approach accused? I think I forgot the name of the street where
Nugget.
he was in. Excuse me, madam.
Nugget. Is it Nugget?
Thank you, madam.
Is it Nugget?
He definitely says Nugget, madam.
Yes,
so
because
the court is
I'm
going
here,
to prove
I'm here
what
in
we're
court.
talking about here.
I'm here in court.
Yes.
That place there.
So the court knows the place.
No, I know the evidence.
Or the evidence.
Yes.
No,
You
I
know
thought
that
the court
is-
has got a clue of what you're speaking about. No, thank you, my lord. Yes. He says he was renting a flat at Corner Plain and Nugget Street. At Corner Main and Nugget Street, which is in the city center of Joburg. Thank you. So, there's no, it is no wonder why when he woke up on the 26th of October 2014, when he started to be busy with his phone, we see all those Ho Street, the Moy Street, and the Volhuta Street, because he was staying around that area. But in a sense, this is what he says, that in the morning of the 26th, himself, in the company of accused number 4, with Mr. Mapisa, and other gentlemen, which he, sorry,
Uyavuma ukuthi nangabe unumber 3 unikeza ithuba lokuthi eze ezofakaza uzovuma ukuthi lokufakaza lokho kuvele kuleyanwazi kuhambelana naloko engakusho ngenxa yokuthi ngalelo langa behlala emene nugget kungalokho lemniningwane lo fakazi lo uyilethela ihambelana naloko engakuchaza ukuthi ngoba ebehlala eduze naleyo ndawo kungalokho i-cellphone yayipick up yilawo amathawo ngoba behlala lapho.
Now he says that himself, Mr. Mapisa, a gentleman called Skaya, another gentleman called Zenzele, there was also another gentleman called Mabungu, there was also another gentleman called Ndawonde, they then hatched a plan. They decided to drive to Spruit. They used a Kumbi that was driven by Zenzele Mkulu. Spruit, he tells me that Spruit it's another name for Katlehong. He says Spruit is another name for Katlehong. I don't know where Spruit is, I don't know where Katlehong is. But that is where they decided to drive. They went there to see some of their friends as well, because some of their friends were staying there. Then they got to Spruit. Let me tell you, he's not so sure about the time, the exact time. I think it will be a fallacy again to expect him to say, at 31 minutes past 9 o'clock, this is where we were. At 35 minutes past 9 o'clock in the morning, that is where we were. I just want this court to have that in mind. But he says, on this day, this was his movement. They ended up at Spruit, which is the reason why at 27 minutes past 11, there's that tower there, Moseleke and Ponejo. Those towers are in Spruit, are in Katlehong. So they say. Now, they saw some of their friends there. As I'm saying, this is just a summary of he would come and tell the court if circumstances arise. You should not be persecuted for saying that, but your counsel never said this, you are saying this. This is just a summary. He will come and add all the information himself. Thank you. Because I know the trick. Yes.
Uyavuma ukuthi unumber 3 uthi yena ngalelo langa ubukela ehlala khona wase uhlangana nabanye abangani bakhe noma abayazana nabo base bayasuka kwabo base bephume ukuthi masambeni siyobona abangani noma umngani noma abangani eSpruit basuke bayakhona kodwa angeke esho ukuthi basuke ngobani la bekhona angeke afune ukusho lokho kungalokho ngalelo langa leselfoni yakhe isuke yabandwa yile tower le yase Mulele eSpruit.
Thank you. They Moseleke, not Moleleki.
I beg your pardon, my lord. Moseleki.
Yes.
ESpruit.
There's also Ponejo there.
Is it also?
Ponejo. Thank you. They stayed there for some time. He can also remember for how long did they stay, because that was not their ultimate destination. Their ultimate destination was Hostel, which is the reason why at 26 minutes past 12, they were still at Spruit. We see that tower, Taponsako. Yes. He was busy in his phone. There's also that Taponsako tower that caught his phone. They were still in Spruit in Katlehong. Also at study section is also at Spruit in Katlehong. Then from there, they drove over to Hostel, which was their destination. And actually at Hostel, they did not go to the entire Hostel, but they visited a specific area at Hostel, which is called Lesedi. Now, as I'm saying, you can't really say that at First Lawrence we arrived exactly at 15 minutes past 12 or at 15 minutes past 1. But at some point, midday, they arrive at First Lawrence, which is then the reason why at 13:41, we see that his phone is picked up by some towers at First Lawrence up until 16:28, that is 16:28:56, they were still in First Lawrence, specifically at Lesedi. Now what he says is that whilst at Lesedi, they were not seated like stones or senseless things. They would go out and buy beer. They would go out and do this, go out and do this, go out and do this. Which is the reason why you see all those activities there, like for First Lawrence, SGS3, First Lawrence West, SGS2, and all those things. But their central focus was at Lesedi. Thank you, Mr. Interpreter.
Othi yena umangalelo uzothi yena sithe masuka esibhekise kahle sase siyasuka siya eForce Lawrence kungalokho sathi masise eForce Lawrence ithawa le kuthiwa ithabongisako yabamba iselfoni kwasi sasuka saya eLesedi yila sifike sabakhona kodwa angeke ngisho kahle ukuthi lapho sathi sizosuka noma sahlala isikhathi esingakanani ukusuka lapho sase kuyiwa eForce Lawrence.
Thank you. Now, at First Lawrence, they also there by Lesedi. Lesedi is a section in First Lawrence. They also visited a friend of theirs, a certain Mr. Ngamuza. But as I'm saying, you will come and admit to what I've already on the foundation that I've already laid on what he will come and say. Then from Lesedi, in the afternoon, they then decided to hit the road back home or to where they were staying. After having had that jamboree, all the festivities there. Then they decided to hit the road to where they were staying in Joburg, which is the reason why you see that at 5 in the afternoon, on the same date, his cell phone is picked up by a tower, Heidelberg.
Correct.
At Heidelberg Road. And then from there we get into Ben Rose and all those things up to Holt Street. That is his version. Thank you, Mr. Chief.
Othi yena umangalelo umusho ukuthi bathe mabe khona eLesedi bahlala eLesedi kwaze kwafika la kuthiwa manje masibuyelene emakhaya kungalokho iselfoni yakhe yasebanjwa ile tower le yase Heidelberg Road kusuka lapho yase yobanjwa ile yase Ben Rose ngoba ngaleso sikhathi base bezitshele ukuthi sekwenele ithi sibuyele ekhaya.
Thank you. Now, on their arrival in Joburg, they went to George Koch Hospital, men's place. What is it now? Hostel. Yes, George Koch Hostel. George Koch Hostel is in the vicinity of the area known as Ben Rose, which is then no surprise that upon their arrival in Joburg, it's depicted on this exhibit that they spent some time around Ben Rose. Now at Ben Rose, not really at Ben Rose, at George Koch Hostel, which is in the vicinity of Ben Rose, that is where then they met accused number 5. He was from work. That is his version. Then from there,
number
okay.
3 uthi yena sithe masisuka eHostel sibuyela la sikhala khona saya kahle saya eGeorge Koch kungalokho le cellphone isuke yabanjwa yile lokhuza yase Penrose ngoba iGeorge Koch iwela phakathi kwe Penrose baba khona lapho okuzofika ngalesi sikhathi bezohlangana no number 5 ngaleso sikhathi number 5 yena ebese buya emsebenzini.
Thank you. Then they had some few festivities there. Then they decided to leave Joshkov to their respective areas. But they traveled in the same motor vehicle in the Kumbi. Accused number 1, no. Accused number 4 was left at around GP Street. May I approach accused man? Thank you. Now, accused number 4 was left around street known as Julie Street. Him, that is number 3, and accused number 5 were dropped at the flat that is at corner Main and Nugget Street, where they were sharing a room. Because of the fact that they've been busy the whole day, there was, the state of sobriety had been abrogated. Accused number 2, no. Accused number 5 was from work. They then slept up until the following day.
Kodwa bathe mabesuka lapho ke bese bayahamba usukela eJoshua. Ukuhamba kwabo number 4 base bamshiya eJoshua Street. Bona base baqhubekela phambili ngohambo labo ngenxa yokuthi ngenxa yalokho kwakuyenzeka emini nokukhathala kwase kusongathi kuyazwakala base bagcina ngokuthi masihlukane bayoyiphumulela ngalokho babe kuyenza emini ikhona lokho kwakuyenza ukuthi amandla nawo songathi awasabikho.
Thank you. Now, in amplification of the fact that they were at George Koch Hostel, I would want us to go to Exhibit S. Who's my next? A second, my lord. I'm trying to get my Exhibit S here.
Photo number 27.
My lord?
Photo number 27.
No, Exhibit S is not photo number 27.
Which photo do you want to see?
Yes. On Exhibit S.
Exhibit S.
I do not have a copy of this.
Okay. I'm going to request the state, my lord, to assist us with the photo album.
What number is that?
It's photo 17.
Oh, 17. Okay, fine.
No, wait. On photo number, on Exhibit S, my lord. Now, let us start with photo number 9. I'm not so sure whether technology would allow us to have that photo beamed on the main screen there.
But how does this with this?
Last time, our colleague here was very handy, Mr. Sibande was very handy in beaming that information. I'm not so sure if you would
Sorry,
offer
Mr.
assistance.
Nisi, do you want this woman, with this witness
Yes, ma'am.
to testify about the photos, make comments about the photos?
No,
So why do you show her all this?
no, my lord. I'm avoiding a situation
Of what?
where, look, these photos, they also correlate to the testimony of the cell phone data that,
Okay,
that
fine,
this
fine,
witness
okay,
has testified
fine.
about. Yes. So there's a synergy there. It's one supports the other. So it will be a miscarriage of justice on my side if I don't do that on behalf of accused number 3. But nonetheless, ma'am, let us proceed. I think everybody has got a photo album, Exhibit S. It might not be necessary for us to have it pinned there. Photo number 9 on Exhibit S.
Which page is photo number?
That's page 9. I'm sorry. That should be page 9. Yes.
I am on page 9, photo number 9.
Yes. On page number 9, there are 2 gentlemen that are squatting there, although that photo is a little bit blurred. But the gentleman who's in lightish clothes, that's accused number 3. The gentleman who is at the back with the bluish clothes, that's accused number 4. And according to the information that we received from the state, this photo was taken on the 26th of October 2014 at 11:52. And this information that is depicted there is depicting them being sprayed at Mazibuko Hostel. This is just to amplify what is contained in your cell data as well. Now you will see that from 11:27 up until 12:41, as per his version, they are at Katlehong or at Spruit. So basically, the time at which this photo is the information that's from the state. This photo was taken from between those 2 time frames. As I've said, they might not specifically say at this point in time, at 3 minutes past this so much, this is what we were doing. It would be like expecting the impossible from them. Thank you.
Uyavuma ukuthi lezi ithombe uyazibona zombili. Kodwa uthi yena uyazibona. Uyatshelwa ukuthi lezi ithombe ngalesi sikhathi zithathu. U4 no5 ngaleso sikhathi bethatha lezi ithombe babe spread eMazibuko Hostel. Kanti kwase kuthathwa lezi ithombe.
Thank you. Now let's go to page 12. Of the same photo album. Now this is another photo on the information that was presented by the state, on the evidence, not only information, on the evidence that was presented by the state that depicts accused number 3. And according to the state's evidence, this photo was taken at 17:31:14. That is 31 minutes past 5 in the evening, in the afternoon. And according to him, accused number 3, this area that is depicted there is George Koch Hostel. Now, very interesting, man. Now, when you look in the broader aspect of this photo, what would your comment be with regard to the hairstyle that accused number, that this person that is depicted on this photo is wearing?
Do you want me to comment on his hairstyle?
No, not comment. What you see here, your observation. I'm not saying comment. You know, a comment might be something that comes out of your viewpoint. But what you see here, what is it that you see here?
I see a picture of a gentleman enlarged and then another gentleman on the left-hand side, and
Yes.
the one on the right-hand side
Yes.
is facing the gentleman that's enlarged.
Thank you, man.
Uthi kulesi sithombe njengoba esibuka ubona isithombe lesi esikhulisiwe ebese ubona umuntu owesilisa ngapha esandleni sokunxele uke lo noma ubheke ngakulo wethu la kulesithombe la sikhuliswe khona omunye abe ngapha esandleni sokudla naye ubheke ngapha kulo esithombeni la sikhuliswe khona.
Thank you, ma'am. Let us, before we adjourn for lunch, I said, what is it that you are observing about the hairstyle that he's wearing? The gentleman with, that gentleman who has got an enlarged photo there. What does his hairstyle look like?
It's long,
Yes.
perhaps plaited, or I don't know what you call this hairstyle, but it's
Thank you.
Othi yena
long.
uthi uyasibona lesi sithombe lo muntu kulesi sithombe unenwele ezinkulu kanti kubakhulu kwazo lezi zinwele ubonisisa ngathi uziyenzele phansi uzishayele phansi kodwa zinde.
Yeah, well, you would not be faulted to try and give a definition of what you see here. Don't worry, man. I understand you're not an expert. But again, is it also correct that what is depicted on this photo is that on his left hand ear, he's wearing an earring? No, the evidence doesn't see this. You must either say yes or no.
Yes.
Thank you.
Uthi uyambona lo muntu kulesi sithombe ukuthi endlebeni le lesandla sokunxele ufake iqithi.
Thank you, my lord. I think this is an opportune time for us to adjourn for the lunchtime. Thank you, my lord.
What should I make of the evidence you are giving this witness to say?
Excuse me, my lord.
What should I make of the evidence that this gentleman has got an earring on his ears?
What should the court make of that
Yeah,
evidence?
you said that to her.
Yes.
What should I make of that?
It will be up to the court.
No,
What
no,
then
I'm
it is
asking you.
for that evidence. I cannot direct the court what to make of that
I say,
evidence.
am I correct to say you suggested that? To
Yes,
him? Okay,
yes.
fine, no problem,
Yes,
no problem.
yes.
Okay, 2 o'clock. Yeah, fine. Do the earpiece. It too close.
Is it please?
We're just waiting for the...
Yeah.
Thank you.
We're just going to request that the cross-examination stand down for a while. There was an issue that stood down yesterday, namely the issue of the reanalysis of the ballistic experts, arrangements regarding that, so that the two experts could be here. They're both here. If maybe we can then proceed with those arrangements.
Yeah. I do. And even the Colonel is here also, no?
Yes, Colonel Mangena is here, and I'm told this Mr. Dave Peters.
I mean, Gelinda.
Yes.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm going to suit. They're fine, I understand that, yeah.
As a court, please, my lord.
Yes.
During the recess, there was a request by the defense for the reanalysis of the ballistic exhibits in this matter, the projectile, as well as the firearm in question. We then sought the permission of the court in light of the fact that these are court exhibits, and the court then ordered that the matter be argued in open court in the presence of the two experts. The two ballistic experts are present in court today, my lords, Lieutenant Colonel Mangena
Yeah.
and Mr. Dave Peters. I'm told that this matter stood down yesterday for the defense, in particular Advocate Nisi, to motivate the request for the reanalysis of the exhibits.
Yes, Mr. Messi.
Is it please the court, my lord? Is it please the court?
Yes.
As I indicated yesterday, my lord, that in principle the state is not opposed
Yeah, of
to
course.
the application by the state. Actually, when the state received the communication from the registrar that they thought they would want everything to be formalized and to be put on record, the state had already begun to make arrangements, my lord, that the two experts should meet. We were looking forward to that. The process would have been finalized during recess. Unfortunately, due to the court's order, then we had to stop everything and come to court yesterday. The court requested the expert is here, our expert is here, as well as the state's expert, madam. I'm not so sure whether the court would really want me to, thank you, my lord.
To do what?
to motivate why.
No, no, you've
Yes.
got the right to demand or request.
Yes, Madam.
That's,
I think all that is missing now is just the formalities on how the process should be conducted.
yeah,
I think in that
the state,
vein would then be guided by the court.
yeah, but you communicated with the state and the state is agreeable. It's in terms of section what, 200?
I think we would have raised our,
No, no, fine, but
would have premised our application in terms of section 35(3)(I), my lord.
just check 200 there. 200, 1, 2, 3, 4. About exhibits. Anyway, I can recite it. I refused to say the prosecutor. He spoke to my secretary, register, to say that he and Mr. Nisi have agreed that the state expert and the defense expert for accused number 3 have agreed that they should meet and that the exhibits pertaining to the ballistic evidence should be handed over to them so that accused number 3's ballistic expert would have the opportunity of inspecting and even analyzing or even testing the said ballistic exhibits. I said, no, you can't do it like that. All the experts must come here before the court. That's what the law, it's not me saying that, because there's certain protocol which must be followed. The formal handing over should be here in court. In view of the evidence we led in this case, remember there was some argument about whether this gun is a gun which did A or B or C or D or F. You remember, Mr. Mnisi, you remember also?
Yes, indeed, my lord.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So this court has got to be certain that the gun or the firearm which was allegedly said to have done whatever by the state, I must see it being handed over to the expert of the defense, who shall be entitled to examine, analyze, or test it in the presence of the investigating officer and the expert of the state. Is that agreeable? That's the procedure.
Indeed, my lord. Firstly, we confirm what Advocate Nisi said, that
Yeah.
the state doesn't have objection.
Yeah.
Secondly, we agree wholeheartedly with the procedure that the court is proposing.
Okay.
We think it is the right
Yeah,
procedure.
fine. So the name of the expert of accused number 3, briefed by Mr. Mnisi and the legal aid.
Mr. David.
Mr. Lieutenant? What's your name, sir?
David Stefanus Landsberg Pieterse.
David Stefanus Langsberg Pieterse.
Pieterse, that's
Okay.
correct, my lord.
Thank you, madam.
So you are the ballistic expert for the defense.
That's correct, my lord.
Okay. So what do you require? You require to take the exhibits, ballistic exhibits, to where? Or in the presence of the two gentlemen, Gininda and Manganyi.
My lord, from the beginning, my suggestion was that the expert, the state expert, together with, all the parties that were involved in the ballistic examination, take the exhibits to my lab, which is my laboratory, which is in Midrand, where I will analyze it in their presence. So I don't think it's feasible for me to take control of the exhibit. I think rather let it be in the control of the state, and we will do the analysis together. They will be in my presence when I do that.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Is that the agreement?
Well, at the time when we took this up with Lieutenant Colonel Mangena,
Yeah.
that was the agreement. my lord. And,
At the time. Now, what is the agreement?
Yes, the position hasn't changed.
Okay.
The only request, obviously, from the state side is just for the integrity of the exhibits
Yes.
to be ensured
And
at
the tests.
all times. Yes.
Because, Mr. Peters, are you Mr. or Doctor or
That's correct, my lord.
people are concerned about being called Mr. Dr. Colonel, President?
Mr. is fine.
Your Mr. is fine.
Yeah.
You have a laboratory,
Yes, I
a
have
standard
a
ballistic laboratory,
yes,
where you
I-
can test, examine.
Where I can do my own comparison microscope, where I can do the microscopic
Right,
analysis.
of course, yeah.
That's correct.
Because the state has that.
That's correct.
You don't want to use the facility of the state. You don't
No.
want to.
I have my own facilities, and the
Okay.
state don't want me to use their facilities, so it's
Fine. Let's listen to Colonel Geninda. You are the investigating officer. And the last time it was decided, you said you decided because of the possibility of theft or whatever, to keep those exhibits. Is that still the position?
Yes, that's still the position, ma'am.
Where are they?
They're in the safe, in the states.
So you haven't come with them.
No, I didn't.
What is what there?
Oh, my lord, the colonel just reminded me, we do have them.
Yeah, ne?
Yes.
Yes, in Fulhamsborn. I want to see them. Because I'm told there are two projectiles there. Eh?
It's one.
It's one and one shattered one.
Yes, that's correct.
And so-called CPZ 9mm firearm.
Yes, we do have them.
Yeah, fine. So are you satisfied that Mr. Peterson can use the facilities of his own laboratory? He has enough equipment, machinery to test. That's what he says to me.
My lord, yes, seeing that...
Microscopes, everything.
Yes, I think that we'll be able to do with our expert, my lord.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with
Oh,
that.
fine. Okay, fine. Yeah, let's all see those things.
kusho ukuthi khona manje kunesiwe ngalo fakazi ukuthi abuze le mibuzo ngoba kuye kwaba nesicelo sokuthi lama exhibit fanele ahlolwe ama-expert manje umshishisi enze isivumelano nomlelo ukuthi mabawalethe ukuletha kwalawo ma-exhibit bese ayahlolwa abameli bekhona manje inkantolo yithi nayo ayinenkinga lawo ma-exhibit efanele avezwe lana abone nayo ujaji awabone lawo ma-exhibit kodwa umr peterson uthi yena mina nginendawo la ngingafika ngiwatheste khona ilaboratory la ngingafika nayo yonke into le ngingathesta khona ukudubula yini yonke into ikhona nabo abayi laba bestate bathi asinankinga nangabe ukhona.
Yeah, Mr. Peterson. Repair there, and you'll tell me what you see there. You haven't had sight of them, is that not so?
That's correct, my
Yes, so go there so that you can place it on record what Lieutenant Mangani, or Colonel Mangani and Colonel Belinda are handing over to you. It must be recorded.
As it is the court, madam.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure if we can also go, because the firearm was exhibited here at court, just to
Things not-
confirm that it is that which was exhibited here.
Yeah,
But I'm
that's
not
fine.
suggesting anything, madam, but just for the sake of confirmation, probably it will have to be circulated here as well, madam. And, but then it will have to be put on safe.
Yeah, Mr. Balloon.
Mala, the reports have been handed. I think the two experts can, in light of the report, confirm if
Yeah,
it
that's
is
it.
the right
That's
firearm.
what.
I think it's safer that way.
Yeah.
And secondly, we suggest that perhaps Colonel Mangena should take the exhibits to the lab of Mr. Peterson. Not that we doubt
Yeah, no,
integrity, but just for Colonel Mangena to take them to the lab of Mr. Peterson.
Yeah, he's going to take them there.
Yes, for testing and then take them back in his custody.
Yes, Mr. Peterson, you can put it on record what is being shown to you and handed over to you. What is that?
What is shown to me, my lord, is the firearm that is in question. And
Yeah.
it is marked with lab number 343-69/50.
Okay.
And then there is test cartridge cases that was fired in this firearm.
Okay.
Test bullets that was fired in this firearm by Lieutenant Colonel Mangena.
Yeah.
I also have test cartridge cases, a test cartridge case and a test bullets that were fired by Warrant Officer Rulofse in the same firearm.
Yeah.
And then there is two exhibit bullets that looks like 9mm fire bullets to me. One is still in good condition by the looks of it, and we will be able to do microscopic work on it. The other one is damaged to such an extent that I don't think we will be able to do any microscopic analysis on it. And that is what is shown to me.
Yeah, but you must annotate the cartridges. You say to me, a box of cartridges. I don't know how many there are. You're going to say so many, so many, so many, so many.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the test,
Test cartridges, how many?
test cartridges that were fired by Colonel Mangena is
Right.
8,
Okay.
and test bullets fired by Lieutenant Colonel Mangena was 8, and then 2 test cartridges fired by Warrant Officer Rulofse,
True, yeah.
and 2 test bullets,
Right.
and then there is the 2 exhibit bullets,
Okay.
the firearm, which I already said is marked 34369.
Is that the number which was superimposed over the etching?
That's correct. It's
Three?
marked with the lab number
Yeah.
on the trigger guard. That's correct.
That's it, okay?
Yeah. 34369/15. Which is then the Cleveland lab
Yeah.
number. There's also one magazine,
That 13 bullets, so 13 cartridges.
one magazine,
9.
and cartridges.
8.
12, 13, 14, 16, 18. 19 9mm parabellum
Okay.
caliber cartridges.
And what's the name of the weapon? My killing,
This is
Gun.
a 9mm parabellum
right?
CZ
CZ,
model 75.
model 75.
That's correct.
And the color, I see it is,
It's a black. So this weapon was actually gun coated, black.
uncoated.
The grip is quite worn out, and this is not a standard grip that is put on here. It looks like a Pachmeyer grip that was put onto the firearm.
Okay. Is that all?
That's all.
Maybe one can also add the blue box where in the
Bullets, sir.
the 9mm cartridges are.
My lord, I just want to make a correction.
Yeah.
21 cartridges.
21.
21 cartridges in a blue box. And this is a Noble Tech ammunition box.
Okay. All right. Mr. Missy, anything you want to add?
But nothing to add, my lord.
Nothing? Okay, fine. Anything, Mr.
I
Ballistic?
think the information will be brought back here at court still. If I've got anything to say,
Say it
I'll
now.
make it when it comes back, my lord.
After. It's too late. Now, when is the test going to be conducted? Or the analysis, etc.?
My lord, I've indicated to council that I'm fully booked this week. But we can make arrangement somewhere next week, whichever day suits the state.
Now, the order has got to say it will be done on such and such a day. You must arrange that so that nobody says, hey, I had flu, I had cold. Hey.
We have agreed Monday, the 29th of July.
29th of July. What time?
I would say 9 o'clock in the morning will be fine.
9 o'clock in the morning. Where? I don't know where your laboratory is. What's the address?
It is 33 New Road, Midrand. And the laboratory or the business is called the Forensic Hub. The
forensic.
Yeah, the Forensic Hub, HUB.
Oh, hub.
That's correct.
Okay. Any other thing you want to add?
Well, Lord, yeah, we will start on Monday and see if we can finish with the analysis. If it has to be a rollover, we will make a mutual agreement that we carry on Tuesday.
And when does this court, oh well, I don't know, depends on you and Mr. Nisi and Mr. Banoi, the report, if ever, is going to be handed over or whatever. Will there be a report in other words? Okay.
Yes, there will be a report. There will be a report, definitely.
Okay.
I've indicated to legal aid that once all the exhibits is in my possession and I've done my analysis, it shouldn't take more than 3 weeks to compile the report. Okay. So we are looking more or less in the 3rd week of August.
You don't want to burden yourself by saying the 20th of August or the 30th of August, we reassembled, the report is presented. You don't want to take the chance.
The 3rd week in August.
No, not to pressurize time. Even if it's October, as long as the court knows there's a cut-off date. Because you said to me you need about 3 weeks.
It's the first Monday in September. Let's make that one. So this is the 2nd of September.
2nd of September.
That's correct, my lord.
Okay, Mr. Minis. 2nd of September.
At the latest. If it's prior that,
no, fine.
No, it's fine, my lord, as long as that will not be recessed. Because then if we're going to say 2nd of September falls within recess, then there's going to be...
I don't know when is recess.
No, my lord, I know the date for the recess
Yes.
is until the 22nd of September.
So it will be during recess.
22nd of September.
It starts from the 22nd of September that week.
Yes, my lord.
Okay, so the 2nd of September is not recess.
It's not recess.
Okay.
Until the 17th of October.
All right, yeah, so fine. And then the last aspect. Are you taking the exhibits now? Or is Colonel Genenda and Colonel Mangani, are you going to take them yourselves? On which date to Mr. Peterson?
I think the best will be if they bring it to my lab on on the agreed date, the 29th.
Is that okay?
Yeah,
Yes, it is okay.
I will prefer it if it stays in their custody.
Yeah, because in Joburg here, there will be guys who are listening. All right. Why do you laugh, Mr. Nis? I read about a prosecutor who was shot dealing with an income tax case. Then they shot him.
Yes.
So these things happen. Okay, fine. Okay, thanks. Then the order then is that the tests will be conducted in the presence of all 3 of you. And obviously you say you want it to start on the 29th. And then ultimately you'll prepare your report and apparently by the 2nd of September you'll come back to present it.
That's correct.
Is that okay?
That's okay.
Okay, the order is accordingly made. Okay. Thanks.
As it is the court.
Yeah.
Ngibona ama-exhibit lawa afanele ayohlolwa ngu-Mr. Peters ngoba amabhulete, isipamu, ilokhuza, amakhathisizi, iy'nhlamvu lezi ey'sebenzile nalezi zazisetshenziswa yiyo bekhetha isipamu. Manje inkantolo yenza ikhoda yokuthi lama-exhibit njengoba bahambe nawo kodwa bawabuse kuyena uPeters ukuze uPeters ayowahlola bese mayiqeda ukuwahlola lama-exhibit bese uzobhala iripoti yokuthi yena utholeni imiphumela kule sibamu nalama-bullet bese uthi yena bangawaletha nge-29 zakaJulayi kuye bese uzoqala ukuwasebenza kodwa iripoti yona ngokwakhe ukuthi imiphumela yakhona uboneni yena kulokwebeyohlola uzoletha leyo report ayilethele inkantolo nge-2 zakaSeptemba.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. If you are excused, if you want to.
As it is the court, my lord.
We have to excuse Mr. Peters if he wants to leave, but unless he wants to talk to you, I don't know. You want to talk to your instructing attorney? I can adjourn.
Thank you. She will appreciate, my lord, the short adjournment.
Okay, what's the time now?
It's 12:30.
Ah.
2:30.
How many minutes do you need?
Just 5 minutes, my lord.
5 minutes. Okay.
Oh, I didn't cost on it.
As it please the court, my lord. I'm not so sure whether this is an imagination, but I've got a very strong head that is hitting me, my lord.
What?
Headache.
Headache?
Yes, I don't know where it's really coming from, but Mr. Ramusipil is confirming that apparently this headache is just running around. It was even the interpreter was complaining about the headache.
You mean there's a guy with strong multi here?
Mr. Ramusipil, I think he's got it.
Anything is possible, Judge. Anything is possible.
What's the time now? How long are you going to be, Mr.?
I still have to come to a new issue with the witness, my lord. So definitely, even if we start now, despite my headache, we might not be able I might not be able to be done with my
Mr.
cross-examination.
Kumalo, are you still also going to cross-examine?
Yes, definitely.
Mr. Chalolo?
Yes, my lord.
Okay, it appears we won't finish today. Are you available tomorrow, ma'am?
Yes, my lord.
Okay. All right, then shall adjourn until tomorrow.